Auburn picks up a big-time commitment in Jaylin Crawford, and we take a look at how much teams improve in year one under Hugh Freeze right now on the Up Tempo podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Yes, sir. Welcome back, Auburn family. Happy Monday to everybody out there. Glad that you are with us. I'm your host, Dustin Smith, joined by the new papa in town, Blake Lane. How are you, brother? Everybody wants to know.
What's up? I'm sorry I missed the last one, Dustin, but my son decided to come a little early.
Hey.
Levi made his way into the world at 12:35 a.m. this past Saturday. It was amazing. The whole process was kind of drawn out and long. My wife suffered an injury during it, but she was an absolute trooper, a warrior, as I call her. She was in labor for 30 plus hours. And as you can see, the bags under my eyes right now because I've gotten zero sleep and I got a chance to step away from the hospital with visitors coming and they're doing some testing and everything like that. So hopefully, Tuesday, tomorrow, they get to release her and everything and we get to come on home. So, but Dustin, it was amazing. He's a precious little fella, and it has been surreal.
Yeah, man. Glad to hear, man. Everybody, prayers up for Mama Lane there. Just speedy recovery. But we're glad that Levi's healthy, man. Everything's gonna be okay. So we're blessed. We got a new member, a new Auburn Tiger, man.
Yeah, already got introduced to some Cam Newton highlights. First day here on Earth, man. Got introduced and got to see who the true GOAT was.
Yes, sir. You got to plant it in there, dude. You got to plant it in there. He won't just plant it in his subconscious. He won't remember it, but man, it's one of the first things he saw. That boy Cam taking that thing to the house, man. So we're happy for you, dude. And thank you to everybody that liked the video and all that Friday, man. I know I had to kind of throw that together, but appreciate y'all for your kind words.
Yeah, and, Dustin. One thing I do want to say, everybody who was here to watch that Friday video, just to tell you all a little bit of how hectic it actually was for Dustin is I got a call at 10:30 Thursday morning, and my wife was like, "Hey, we're having the baby. Get to the hospital." I was like, okay. So I had to go to my boss. I was like, "Hey, man, like it's going down. It's happening. Like I got to go get me something to eat. I got to shower, and then I got to get to the hospital." So all of this happening, I'm like in the middle of texting Dustin, like, "Hey, man, like we can't do tomorrow's show. Like I'm so sorry. Like this is happening and everything." And Dustin comes through, and I always want to give a shout out to him just for how hard he works. And people don't really see what goes on off screen, like behind the scenes of this podcast and stuff, of him to just basically freelance a topic and off the knowledge that he knows and with nobody else to talk to. So talking to yourself for 40 minutes on camera is extremely hard and it is tough. So I want to give you thanks, man, give you props and a shout out for all you do. I appreciate it.
Hey, no, thank you, buddy. And I had two teeth pulled that morning, so
yeah,
it was a very hectic day. I was playing hurt for sure. I was perked up, baby. Thank you to modern medicine, man. But let's get into it. We won't get too much into it, bro, because I gave about 10-15 minute breakdown on him on Friday's episode. Go back and watch that. But Jaylin Crawford, man, I know that you wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit since you weren't with us Friday. And your main talking point, Blake, was the schools we beat out, the schools that we beat out for a defensive back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we know what kind of player he is. So I'm not even going to go down that route because I know you touched on it. And we know he was the number one DB in the state of Georgia, right? So when you have LSU and Florida on the table, on your rear ends, fighting for this cat, and you have a guy like Corey Raymond who was at LSU for all of those years, bringing in that elite DB talent. All right, we know the names. I don't have to list them off, and they have been considered DBU for a while now. Okay, and then he goes to Florida. He switches up. All right. He says, going down here with G5 Billy. We know Florida is also another school that has produced elite DBs into the NFL.
Facts.
And now the recruiting that staff has been doing down there, some people were sitting here saying, hey, look, this Jalen Crawford kid, like Florida's getting after him.
Yeah.
And I had people texting me and they were saying, hey, look, what's going on here? And I was just like, I think he's Auburn. All right. Now he almost scared the piss out of me when he did the pump fake. So I was like, like no way. But to beat out a guy like Corey Raymond and who's been doing it so long, just another shout out to Crime Dog and Zach Etheridge, right? I mean, getting elite talent at that position. The room is stacked. We already know, we've talked about it multiple times, what it's going to be like this year for that secondary, what we think it's going to be like, but just into the future and the guys that you have in there, the guys that you're bringing in. I mean, it's you got to feel good as an Auburn fan, just seeing guys like this over LSU and over Florida pick Auburn. And I think it's a new day on the Plains with this staff and head coach Hugh Freeze, Dustin.
Yeah, 100%. Whenever you get the number one cornerback out of Georgia, that kind of speaks for itself. You're coming out of Parkview, which is a historically great program, an area there in Gwinnett County that we need to recruit well. We need to get a couple of guys out of there every year. And like you said, man, Florida's been red hot. And when that original commitment date getting pushed back, and then you hear it's because Florida's making a push, you're thinking, oh boy, a check's getting wrote. Exactly. And then to your point about him dropping the hat, I'll be honest with you, because if you didn't see the commitment, he had the three schools, Auburn, LSU, and Florida. And clearly, like, the Auburn hat was the best hat on the table. Like, the other two hats were $5 gas station hats. So you're thinking, okay, cool, everything's fine here. Damari was there live streaming, Damari Alston. I mean, there was, another player was there as well live streaming. So it all looked good. But I'll be Blake, when he dropped the hat, I honestly, my initial thought was, that son of a bitch, Jimbo got us again. Because, because the hat, right? I was like, okay, if he's not, what's he going to pull out? Because he had the three schools we thought on the table. So I'm thinking, is he about to come out with that Aggie hat, bro? Like, I was just thinking, oh boy, they done came in with another check. He got me.
DC tweeted the eye emojis like right before it happened. So I can see where you kind of thought that, like, but
no, Jimbo, no.
Yeah, that would have been horrible. But he picked us, and it feels good. Just an elite talent, and it's exciting. It's exciting, the recruiting that's getting done. Like we always say, Dustin, don't pay attention to the number right now in the recruiting rankings. It's all going to change, brother.
Yeah, it's 9 of 11. That's 9 of 11 commitments now are blue chips, and we've spoke about Bryce Kane. You might as well go ahead and pencil that one, and that's at least 10 out of the 11. So
what a change!
Yeah, the quality is definitely there. Third right now as far as in terms of average star ranking. But our topic tonight, man, what we really wanted to get into is we wanted to take a look at how teams did the year before Hugh Freeze showed up versus how they did his first year, and kind of how that translated into what we can expect from us this year. And we're going to start off here with his first ever head coach in tenure. He only did 1 year there because he did such a good job. 2010, we weren't really paying attention to Arkansas State. We had bigger and better things going on, but we did play them week 1. Cam Newton ran all over that ass, baby. They went 4-8, 4-4 in the Sun Belt, and then Hugh comes in next year, 10-3, conference title, 8-0 in the Sun Belt, undefeated. And I want to kind of get into the numbers here a little bit, Blake. So points per game in 2010. Arkansas State averaged 30. They averaged 30 points per game, and that was good for 42nd in the nation. On defense, they allowed 38.8 points per game. That was 92nd in the nation. Now, Hugh comes in. Let's look at the improvement here. 2011, 32.5 points per game, gets them from 42nd in the nation to 31st. That's out of 120 teams at the time. And then defensively, they went from that 30.8 a game, 92nd, all the way up to 20.8 a game. That was good for 25th. So right there, you can look and see massive improvement on both sides of the ball, right? And that, to me, is just like, we'll get into this in a second, but one thing that stands out as far as this is a theme. You're going to see this at Ole Miss. You're going to see this at Liberty as well. It gets significantly better on every aspect, no matter which way you want to look at it, offensively, defensively. When Hugh Freeze shows up, your team gets better. But the thing that stands out to me about this specifically, Blake, is this is his first gig. This is your first jump. So, and you're taking over a 4-8 Sun Belt team to come in, and this is pre-transfer portal, right? So Hugh had to take the same guys that went 4-8 and turn them into a 10-3 conference title in his very first year. It would be reasonable to say, okay, they go 6-6, they go 7-5, whatever. It's his first year. He makes some mistakes. They come right out the gate. Let's look at some of the improvement that was made from statistically. Ryan Applin was the starting quarterback in 2010. Ryan Applin. He completed 61.5% of his passes for 2,939 yards. Hugh comes in, that completion percentage goes up to 64%, and the yardage goes up to 3,588 yards. He also averaged 588 yards rushing for 3.8 yards a carry, Blake, and 10 more touchdowns on the ground. So just immediate improvement statistically, right? Let's look at the receiving leader. In 2010, Dwayne Frampton. This one I really like. Dwayne Frampton had 738 yards in 2010. You know how many yards he had in 2011 under Hugh Freeze?
Yeah, he went over 1K.
1,156 yards. I'm seeing a pattern here, Blake.
Yeah. I think that's why a lot of Auburn fans have a lot of hope this year, Dustin, is because you look at things like this, and this is just at Arkansas State. We'll get into what he did even later on at Ole Miss and Liberty, the things that he did there. But I think this is why you hear Auburn fans say there's a possibility we go 9-3. I think this is another reason, like you mentioned with the quarterback at Arkansas State, the completion percentage being elevated and raised in just 1 year. I think that's why you hear Auburn fans say, hey, Robbie Ashford could win the job, because they see these types of things and they say, hey, Hugh can elevate him. Now, is it going to happen with Robbie? I don't know. But is Auburn going to be 10 times better offensively this year? I believe so. All right. I believe so. And, you don't have what you had back there last year and all of that fiasco that was going on at the quarterback position with not wanting to go in the game and all that. But for him to be able to elevate talent, for him to go to the transfer portal and bring guys in, that it's going to be better. Like you said, this was pre-transfer portal, right? And he comes in and he makes that big of a difference. So just everything that he's going to do on offense, he's going to run the football, they're going to throw the football. Things are just going to be better. And it started with that offensive line that you talked about last episode Friday. So,
yeah, and I'll talk about rushing as well. So in 2010, Arkansas State averaged 149 rushing yards a game. They had 24 rushing touchdowns on the season. In 2011, they went up to 154.2 rushing yards a game, 25 touchdowns. So touchdowns, they only up one, but there was no drop off. And then you average 5 more yards a game. So really, no matter where you look at it, bro, no matter which way you look at it, the record improved and everything statistically. And I didn't delve too much into the defensive statistics because obviously Hugh Freeze is an offensive coach, but I did want to bring up those points per game as far as how just the overall improvement of that defense, because again, at Ole Miss and at Liberty, that is something as well. So to the point of, okay, yes, Hugh Freeze is an offensive-minded head coach, and yes, he's hands-on offense. He can improve the offense, but you can trust him to put somebody in charge of the defense that's going to improve that defense as well. And I just that's a good feeling, because the last couple of years, especially in the Gus tenure, it was like Kevin Steele is really carrying us here, and Gus is just kind of along for the ride. It's just like, man, we always felt like we could ever get that offense to match that defense. And you see right here with Hugh, dude, right here, you've got a team that finished 31st, his first year as a head coach, 31st in the country in overall points per game on offense, and then 25th in overall points per game on defense. That's a recipe to go 10-3, bro.
Yeah. Well, in the Gus era, man, like let's be honest, we didn't have a coach that wanted to adapt. We didn't have a coach that wanted to change, right? And he was just going to keep running his offense, and people changed up on him. All right, they called up to him, they realized what he was running. All right, and it got stale. And so when your defense, because let's be honest, man, the 2019 defense, that was national championship caliber. That defense was that good.
100%.
I mean, they shoved it up Joe Burrow's rear end. They did. Like, they held Joe to the least amount of points that he scored all year, and so you look at that, you look at the Florida game that year, and all of this just goes back on Gus, in my opinion, not wanting to change. And I know Auburn fans love Gus, and they thank him, and I thank him. I think he did great things for Auburn. I mean, he was an OC for the national championship team, and in his first year, he got us there. But he didn't want to change. We never got better under Gus,
Right.
I guess is what I'm trying to say. We steadily got worse, in my opinion. We got worse.
Yeah.
We got worse, and so I look at that, and I look at the Hugh statistics and how he's continuously getting better and better. Look, this dude won games with Bo Wallace, man. I think that speaks volumes. Bo was good. He was a gamer, okay? He was a gamer. But was he an elite quarterback in this league? Absolutely not. And the dude won football games. So I think the sky's the limit for Hugh, man. I think he can do powerful things at Auburn. I really do, Dustin.
Speaking of Bo Wallace, let's get over here to Ole Miss, Blake. So,
Mhm.
like you said, Hugh only gets 1 year there at Arkansas State. Ole Miss calls him up after a tragic 2-10 season, 0-8 in the SEC, which to me, that looks like classic Ole Miss. I don't know what y'all were tripping on. That looks to me like you were right where you belong, baby. That looks to me like Ole Miss Rebel football. I don't know what the problem was, but they called up Brother Hugh, and again, Brother Hugh comes in to save the day. So they went 0-8 in the SEC. We went through that before. We know how pitiful that is. We actually did it the next year, 2012. 2-10. Then he comes right in, 7-6, makes a bowl game, 3-5 in the SEC the next year. Man, again, huge improvement across the board. So obviously there's a 5-game win difference there. So that part improves. But the points per game here, Blake, this is so 2011, Ole Miss 16.1 points per game. Good Lord, they must have snuck Eric Keesall in there. 116th out of 120 teams in the country. 2012, they go all the way up to 30, almost double it, 31.5 points per game for 48th. Again, a 48th out of 124 teams in the country. You just spoke on Bo Wallace, and it just seemed like Hugh just finds a way, man. Again, this is pre-transfer portal. So you've got the same cats that just went 2-10 and 0-8 in the SEC. And now all of a sudden you're getting Ole Miss to a bowl game. And it's hard. Like, I know that was a long time ago now. People might forget or might not have been watching back then. Ole Miss sucked, bro.
They did.
Like, Ole Miss sucked. And I know if you're like a newer fan and you think, well, it kind of sucked now. Oh, listen to me. Oh man.
They were bad.
Bad. Ole Miss was something, dude. They were really something. And it was like just I'm pretty sure that Hugh got a lot of votes for SEC Coach of the Year. I should have looked that up before for preparing for this one, but if I remember correctly, he got a lot of votes because it was just like, yo, the mess that you took over here, what he was left with, and to go and again, just these statistics, bro. Like just to go from 116th to 48th with basically the same players, and I really wanted to point this out today, Blake, because he gets his name as a recruiter because he's such a damn good recruiter. But this stuff right here shows you he can develop. And what's our guy Mike G been talking about? He said we keep getting these 5 stars when we get them, and we don't develop them.
Yep.
Guess what? I'm here to tell you, you got a guy that can get them and can develop them. Because this Ole Miss team right here that went 7-6, That ain't no 7-6 Ole Miss team. That's a 2-10 Ole Miss team, talent wise.
And Dustin, this is why I'm really excited for this coming season with the Auburn Tigers, right? You have a head coach that we're seeing it right here. 2011 Ole Miss, what they were. Hugh comes in 2012 and what they were. So you look back at 2021 and 22 and what the Auburn Tigers were, right? It was a shit show. Let's be honest. Let's don't hold back. Let's don't try to fight it. Let's don't try to wear orange and blue goggles. All right. It was a shit show. So you bring Hugh in. You're looking at it right here, people. You can't tell me all these national analysts and these guys making predictions of Auburn losing to Vanderbilt. Okay. Auburn losing to Vanderbilt.
Get him, Blake.
Let's come together real quick. Let's come together. Let's have a meeting. All right. Let's talk about it. I'm cool. I'm not gonna blow you up on Twitter or whatever, but let's talk about it. All right. Auburn's not losing to Vanderbilt, dog. That's not happening. All right. And I'll put it on record. And if they do, hey, fire me up over it. Put me on freezing cold takes. I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it. But I believe in what Hugh Freeze is doing. I believe in the talent on this Auburn football team, and you can obviously see it right here in these statistics that Hugh Freeze will make a difference in year one. Auburn will improve. 5-7 is a distant memory. Okay, it is. We're putting that in the box and we're throwing it out into the ocean and we're never talking about it again. Okay, that's how far gone it is. Am I sitting there saying Auburn's going to go 10-2 like some people say in our comments and everything? I'm not saying that, but do I think it could happen? Yeah, like I'm not going to sit here and say, I think it's Corey who comments and says Auburn 9-3. I could see it. Okay, so like when somebody jumps on him and says, "Oh, bro, like it's not going to happen. Like Auburn's not going 9-3," it could happen. And Corey laid his prediction out of how it could happen. And I agree with it. If Auburn, if you lose to Bama, Georgia, and LSU, I would take that first year, 9-3. I would take that. And I agree with what Corey says. So, I could see it happening. Do I think they go more along the lines of 7-5, 8-4? Yes. But that is a vast improvement of what we just went through. And I think the Auburn fans deserve that.
100%. Let me lay out for you and Corey, how this could happen. 2011, Ole Miss's overall passing statistics. Now, there was different quarterbacks, but overall passing statistic, 2011, the year before Hugh showed up, they completed 49.5% of their passes for 151 yards a game. In 2012, when Hugh Freeze showed up, and by the way, 49.5 completion percentage sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it?
Yep.
2012 completion percentage. From 49.5, it improved to 63.5. And the yards per game went from 151.7 to 250. Okay. Rushing. 2011, Ole Miss averaged 129.6 yards per game, 3.4 yards per carry. Brother Hugh comes in, takes the tithe, sits down, preaches a sermon. All of a sudden, we're rushing for 173.8 yards per game at 4.1 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Again, every part of your team got better. And on the defensive part, 2011, Ole Miss gave up 32.1 points a game for 90th of the 122 teams in FBS that year. The very next year with Hugh Freeze, they give up 27.6 points a game and improve 30 spots to 60th. So again, massive improvement, even on the defensive side of the ball. You can trust you to put somebody in place. So far we've looked at Arkansas State, and then we've looked at the SEC team here, and there just seems to be a theme. Now, going over to Liberty, and the point I want to make about Liberty is Liberty had only had one season of Division I football prior to Hugh Freeze. And they went, that was 2018. They went 6-6 with our boy Turner Gill. Remember Turner Gill, everybody?
Yeah.
Remember Turner Gill?
There was some heat. There was some heat behind that one.
Yes, sir. Charles Barkley thought we should have hired him. Luckily, we didn't. We got a natty out of that. I don't know if Turner would have been able to navigate 2010 the way that Gene did. But Turner goes 6-6 at Liberty in 2018. Not a bad job. Not throwing shade at Turner, that being their first year. But then here comes brother Hugh, 6-6. We ain't got time for that. 8-5, right out the gate. Again, doing Hugh Freeze type things. Now the offense kind of stayed the same here. Okay, offense stayed the same. They stayed 34th. It only the points per game was at 32.2. It went to 32.8. So it improved marginally. Stayed in the same spot, 34th for the nation. However, defense improved from 118th in the country at 36.8 points a game to 34th in the nation at 28.1 points per game. So what have we seen all 3 times here, Blake?
Improvement
on both sides of the ball. On both sides of the ball. So I just look at it, Blake, and I say, man, if this guy did this at a team that had played 1 year of D1 ball, if he had did this at broken, ugly, poverty program that is Ole Miss, and then to go into Arkansas State after they were 4-8, and then to go undefeated in their conference, and he does such a good job, it's like, you got to get up out of here, bro. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, you've done more with less at all 3 stops.
Yep.
Now, so for one, you're going to have the resources and talent that Hugh is going to have at his disposal will be more than he's ever had in his career, obviously.
Yes.
But let's compare the situations. What I'm saying is we need somebody that can do more with less, because we're still going to play Georgia and Alabama every year. So even though I think we have tremendous more amount of resources than Ole Miss, obviously Liberty and Arkansas State, we still don't have the amount of resources that our 3 major rivals do. Now LSU's fallen off after this year, but still.
But you're gaining in Oklahoma.
And if you're going to win the SEC title, you're going to meet LSU sometimes, aren't you? Yep. So there's going to be times where there are teams in the SEC that are just going to be ahead of us as far as resources go. We'll never pass Alabama in resources. We'll never pass Georgia in resources. We'll never pass LSU in resources. We'll probably never, like Texas and Oklahoma coming in. I don't know where Oklahoma sits. We'll never pass Texas in resources. So we need a coach that can do more with less. And we've just laid out here over the first 28 minutes of this podcast plenty of statistical evidence that show you why Hugh Freeze can do that over his tenure, but specifically the improvement in year 1. And if you remember when Hugh Freeze came in, he said, I can develop quarterbacks and I can turn things around quick.
Yep.
That's why he said it, because he's done it at 3 different spots. And I'm sure Ole Miss, after going 2-10, and for all the crapping that we do on Ole Miss here, their fans care. Maybe I say that, and I remember Lane Kiffin having to ask them to come to games. But I'm sure they wanted a winner, and I'm sure Liberty wanted a winner, and Arkansas State wanted a winner. But what Hugh Freeze is walking into, man, this blender of how hype this Auburn fan base is and how bad we want to win. And then that matches up with how bad Hugh Freeze wants to shut these naysayers up. Remember when Liberty beat Arkansas? He basically campaigned for that job, Blake. He said, I do this. This is what I do. And what he really wanted to say without saying it was, Auburn, y'all just got smoked by Arkansas. And I'm out here smoking them with a lot less than what you got. Like 49.5% to 63.5%. Well, Robbie Ashford hanging around at 49%, ain't he?
That's a fact. And one thing I'll tell you, if you pay attention to that last game with Hugh at Liberty, and when he got smoked by, who was it, New Mexico State or whatever, look, the team was checked out. All right. They had already told him, hey, I've received an offer. All right. Let's look at the Arkansas game and what he did there. All right. He went to Arkansas. All right. A place where Auburn has a lot of success. All right. And he got a dub at Liberty. And it was a nice dub. All right. It wasn't like they just went in there and they, Arkansas turned the ball over and they just lucked up and won at the end. No, They laid it to Arkansas.
Third string quarterback too, brother.
They manhandled Arkansas in the trenches, on the outside, everywhere. They manhandled them. Special teams manhandled them. All right. And that is why, as an Auburn fan, if you're watching the show, you should have faith, all right, that Auburn can improve vastly. Like, I really do believe that Auburn can make a jump. I hear J.D. Piquel on 3 saying Auburn 6-6. You know, I'm sorry, I disagree. I think Auburn has too much talent on this football team, on this roster, to go 6-6. All right. Could it happen? Yes. Like I said a minute ago, could 9-3 happen? Yes. I think we're sitting around 7-5, 8-4, a 2-win jump from last year, possible 3-win jump, in my opinion. And I think that's the Hugh Freeze effect. I think that is what he comes to places like Auburn for. And look, he come to Auburn because he knows what he can do. He knows he can get better players. All right. Auburn's going to get better players than Ole Miss. Let's be honest. It's always been like that. It always will be like that.
It ain't going to change.
Right? And I've said it 1,000 times, people, and I've told Dustin 1,000 times. My grandpa, one of the biggest Alabama fans you will ever meet in your life, he passed away in 2004. Okay. He told me, he said, Blake, the SEC in football is a 16 conference. And I said, 16 conference. I said, what are you talking about? And he looked at me and he said, Alabama, LSU, Auburn. And he looked at the East and he said, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee. He said, you won't see anybody outside of those 6 teams competing at the highest level. That's what he told me. All right. Now go back and look it up, Dustin. All right.
Yeah.
Go back and look through. All right. He was right. He was right. And Hugh Freeze knows that. All right. Hugh Freeze says, hey, that's a top job in that conference, which means it's a top job in America. And when I see polls from Arkansas people who do podcasts saying that Auburn is an average job and Baylor is an elite job, all right, we need to bring it back. Maybe you don't need to be doing polls on the internet, okay? Too many people doing too many polls. There is no way you believe BYU is a better job than Auburn. No way, all right? None. Yeah. Hugh Freeze is about to let you know who the better job is, okay? I think he saw this as a vision and said, I can win here. I was winning 8 games, 9 games at Ole Miss, okay? So if I'm doing that there, I can do more at Auburn. I can do more.
Listen to this, dude. So 2012, Ole Miss wins 7 games. 2013, Ole Miss wins 8 games. 2014, Ole Miss wins 9 games. 2015, Ole Miss wins 10 games. Notice a theme?
Got better each year.
Got better every year.
So, and also in that, he was also starting to bring in 5-star athletes too. Okay. And he also brought in the number 1 player in America too. Okay. So
the Oxford, Mississippi.
Yeah. So listen here, Auburn fans. Okay. If you're sitting here, you got to think to yourself, just say you go 7-5 this year. All right. Off of what Dustin just ran off. Then next year, you got to be sitting here going, oh, now we could go 8-4, 9-3. And then 3 years in, you're sitting here going, now there's a real possibility we win 10 to 11 football games this year. All right. And if you're sitting at 10, 11 wins, you're going to the playoffs in the 12-team format.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I really think in that 12-team format, there's going to be a 3-loss team get in. All right. Yeah. There's going to be a 3-loss team get in. So if you're going 10-2, you're in. All right. You're getting into the playoffs. And they're not going to keep an SEC team out of the playoffs at 10-2.
Do you think a 2017 Auburn team makes the 12-team playoff?
Yeah, absolutely. Easily. Oh God, yeah. Absolutely, they do. Now they might have bumped them down where they didn't get to host or whatever. They might have
Yeah,
had
for
to
sure. Yeah, 3
travel.
losses. Yeah.
Yeah, they might have had to travel or whatever. But yeah, they would have gotten in for sure. Um, look, I even think the 2019 team would have been right there on the cusp of it. With coming back and beating Alabama in that Iron Bowl. And I know they didn't have Bo and everything, or no, they did have Bo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bo was there. It
yeah,
was like
yeah, yeah,
16 for
yeah,
31. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They did have Bo. Oh, it was 21. My fault. Pregnancy brain, bro. Pregnancy brain. Um, so yeah, they had Bo and they beat Alabama in that 2019. I was also thinking of Mac Jones playing in that game, but I think they would have been on the cusp of it. They might have not gotten in, but they
Yeah,
would have been on
not at
the
8-4, but we were like 15 or 16th in the country. We were right
yeah,
there.
yeah, they would have been on the cusp of getting in. So it would have been close. You've been there. You've been right there.
Mhm.
So you've been close, and I think that's one thing that we can look at with Hugh is he sees that. He sees a vision, and he knows that he can get Auburn there. And if you're a naysayer, I know I just kind of touched on this a minute ago. If you're a naysayer and you keep all this garbage about Auburn's trash and this and that and yada, 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 whatever. Bro, Auburn's a top 15 program in the country, okay? Shut up. I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of seeing it on Twitter, on social media. Shut up. Auburn is a top 15 program in the country. You can win at Auburn. You can win a national championship. You can play in the SEC championship. You can play in New Year's Six bowls,
Yes,
okay?
sir.
You can do it all at Auburn. There's everything at Auburn you need to be successful. And I think Hugh Freeze is about to bring all of that to the surface and show you that he can do it. I really do, Dustin.
I'll tell you, before we get out of here, because now you got me on it, I'm going to tell this person specifically to shut up. At Hog Ball Burner. This is an Arkansas
Yeah.
fan here. He says, breaking news. This is after we got our commitment from Jalen Crawford Saturday. A highly touted, he's the number one ranked cornerback in the state of Georgia. So to even poo-poo on that, you have to be an idiot. Hugh Freeze has officially cemented himself as an Auburn legend by getting the 2024 class to the ranking of 37. Sources say he will be given a lifetime contract for this monumental accomplishment. At Hog Ball Burner, I know you're probably not going to catch this, but if you do, brother, I simply ask you, do you think Arkansas is going to finish ahead of Auburn in recruiting?
Absolutely not.
You think what's that dude's name again? I've already forgot it. What's his name over there? I wanted to say
Pittman.
Pittman. You think Sam Pittman's going to out recruit Hugh Freeze? Okay, boss man. I got you bookmarked. Bro.
Yeah. Yeah. That's insane. I think they're just trying to create conversation. Look, get your jabs in now. All right. This is I told a fan a while ago on Twitter, get your jabs in now. Me and him were kind of talking and he said that he thought some of the predictions people were making were funny. And get your jabs in. Hey, look, the ones I love are the prostitute and the hooker jabs. Okay, get those in, man. Get them out of your system. Get them out now because I love hearing them. All right. They're just so original. Get them out. Let us hear it. I love hearing it because, boy, let me tell you something. When Auburn wins, I'm going to be bringing them right back at you. Okay, I'm going to be throwing them tweets because let me tell you something. I'm bookmarking them. I got full of bookmarks right here, baby, full of them. Okay, all right. Get them out now. Get them out of your system because when Hugh's in here and he's winning 10 games and he's improving each and every year, man, I'm going to feel sorry for you on Twitter. All right. I hate it for you, but you brought it upon yourself.
Yes, sir. I'm with you. And that's the thing. Before we get out of here, you know it, bro. We got you bookmarked. The Auburn fans will come for you on social media. Your day will come. Josh Pate put out his thing today. I know he's doing this segment where he talks about different coaches, and he put the one out today. What's your opinion on Hugh Freeze? My opinion on Hugh Freeze is simple. He's my head football coach. And I'm damn happy that he is my head football coach. And we laid out here for you on this episode exactly why you should be happy, too, that he's your head football coach. And the proof is in the numbers. All you got to do is look at it. You have no reason to think this Auburn team will not improve significantly in multiple categories in year one. So as we're inside 50 days, by the time this goes live, I want to say it's 47, 48 right in there. can't wait, bro. Can't wait. Just like everybody else, dude. Just fired up. I think we've got the guy to lead us for a decade. I really do. I think this program is in good hands. I think that we've got a guy that is just hungry, man. That is hungry. His fan base is hungry. He knows how to recruit. He knows how to develop.
Yep.
It's not even booging, dude. It's not even sunshine pumping. It's all right here in front of us. It's a layup. We just got to lay it up.
It's also the staff that he put around him, right? I mean, I think
sure.
that could speak volumes. The guys that he brought in to help this thing, to help flip the culture. That's one thing that stands out to me. So I think he brought in some really nice names, some guys that know how to win, guys that know how to score points, guys that know how to recruit, and guys that are energetic and passionate. That's one thing that I kind of missed the last 2 years is we didn't have any passion. Like all I saw, probably maybe the most passionate thing I saw was Jordan Hare. Let's ride. Right? Like that's about all I saw. Auburn family. Let's ride. You know,
just
like
watch.
like
Just watch.
yeah, that just watch, man. That shit. That's so cringe, bro. But
we watched.
We watched, all right. We watched you get ran smooth out of town, and then they sent somebody to pick your Tahoe up. All right.
Yeah, I gotta find out, man. I gotta find out if that's true, man.
There's no shot. There's no shot. That's true. No shot. It was funny though. It was funny.
It is hilarious. Well,
yeah.
Blake, thank you for coming in here, man. I know you got a lot going on, dude. Thank you for coming in here and getting with me. Guys, Home Field Apparel, all caps, up tempo, 15% off. We are up over 500. Told y'all the other day, the goal, man, 1,000 subs. We want 1,000 subs before kickoff. Continued growth, man. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Smash that like button on the way out. If you're one of these people that is watching all these videos and is not subscribing, just hit the button. Just hit that subscribe button, man. It'll help us out. You'll be better for it too, man. So War Damn Eagle. We'll see you guys Wednesday. Countdown to kickoff episode 3 Wednesday. Got a big guest. We're excited for it. See you guys Wednesday. War Damn Eagle.
War Damn, everybody.